We are delighted to be holding this event in partnership with the National Parent Forum of Scotland, which is a volunteer-led organisation that works to ensure parents and carers play a full and equal role in education. As a parent or carer, you have a key influence on your young person's life and, indeed, their decision-making, and we are really looking forward to sharing some information and resources with you tonight. This information will hopefully give you a good overview of Foundation Apprenticeships, how to search and apply for apprenticeship opportunities, a parent's perspective, insights from a secondary school teacher, and as mentioned, a discussion with our colleagues at National Parent Forum of Scotland. Tonight, we'll give you information including useful websites as well as contact details should you wish to get in touch or find out more about apprenticeships or any of our services. But please don't worry about taking notes on any of these. We'll send all the information to you in an email after this session. Before we get started, I need to let you know that our session tonight is being recorded for anyone who can't make it along. And this will be available if you want to watch it again, and the link to do so will be sent to you afterwards. We can't see or hear you, so if you'd like to ask a question or make any comment, please use the Q&A box in the right-hand side of your screen. Any question raised tonight will be included in our follow-up guide that will be issued along with a link to the recording. Let me quickly run through the format of the evening. You will hear some information around what Foundation Apprenticeships are and how they work. As mentioned, we will then have a panel session to discuss the benefits of Foundation Apprenticeships. There may be some time to go over some frequently asked questions. Remember, if you have a question on something we haven't addressed, please use the Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen and we will include them in our follow-up guide that will be issued along with a link to this recording. So let's discuss Scottish apprenticeships. In Scotland, there are 3 types of apprenticeship available: Foundation, Modern and Graduate Apprenticeships. Foundation apprenticeships are for senior phase pupils in full-time education. Modern and graduate apprenticeships are similar in that they are both allow people to work, earn and learn while being directly employed in an organisation. Modern and graduate apprenticeships will be discussed fully in an upcoming webinar, again designed for parents and carers on Wednesday the 6th of March at 6:30 p.m. A registration link will be sent to you in the follow-up pack. So what is a Foundation Apprenticeship? Foundation Apprenticeships are for senior phase pupils in full-time education. They provide a unique balance of academic and employer-led work-based learning experiences for pupils in S5 and S6. Foundation Apprenticeships will engage with employers to gain skills employers need, learn about their chosen industry and achieve a work-based learning qualification. The Foundation Apprenticeship is chosen as a school subject over 1 or 2 years. Foundation Apprenticeships are currently available in subjects that support key growth sectors in Scotland, including engineering, IT, scientific technologies and social services and healthcare. Apprentices develop meta skills, which are transferable skills that employers are looking for, such as communication, team working and problem solving. You may also know of them as soft skills. Completion leads to a nationally recognised qualification at Scottish Credit and Qualifications Framework SCQF Level 6, the same level as a Scottish Higher, and this is recognised by all colleges and universities in Scotland for entry into their further and higher education courses. We are also piloting some SCQF Level 4 and Level 5 Foundation Apprenticeships in automotive, construction and hospitality in some local authorities. A Foundation Apprenticeship can help with progression onto a modern or a graduate apprenticeship. So what subjects are available? Foundation Apprenticeships are delivered in sectors with jobs in demand. There are 12 Foundation Apprenticeships at the Scottish Credit and Qualification Framework Level 6, from accountancy to civil engineering to software development. And as you can see from this slide, there are a number of sectors represented. So how do Foundation Apprenticeships work? Foundation Apprenticeships are chosen as a subject in S5 or S6 as part of the school timetable. Pupils work towards a qualification over 1 or 2 years, spending time at school with a learning provider, such as a college, and with an employer. Pupils are assessed as they go through both the learning provider and the employer placement, meaning there is no final exam. Employers are engaged through the Foundation Apprenticeship, and this can include site visits, industry projects, and physical placements. More recently, virtual activity has taken place due to the move to more flexible and remote working. If young people undertake the Foundation Apprenticeship in S5 as a 2-year option, for example, attendance is normally 2 afternoons per week out of school at a learning provider, such as a college, and then time with an employer. It tends to take place in S6 for a full day a week to meet employer needs. So let's look at the benefits and the value of Foundation Apprenticeships. Pupils who complete a Foundation Apprenticeship have the unique opportunity to learn about the world of work and gain industry knowledge and experience while still at school. They'll gain a qualification at the same level of learning as a higher, which is recognised by all colleges and universities across Scotland. It's a chance for your child or your young person to try something new and develop career management skills, which will help them make up their mind about what they want to do for a job. Foundation Apprenticeships can help boost their confidence and develop such skills as problem solving, communication, and creativity. All of this can strengthen their CV or personal statement and give them a head start when applying for a job or a modern or graduate apprenticeship or college or university after school. So lots of opportunities in our Foundation Apprenticeships. We're now going to open up the discussion with our panel members this evening. Before we begin, I would like to introduce you to our panel members. Can I ask panel members to switch on their cameras, please? Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to have you all on the panel to talk about Foundation Apprenticeships and your individual stories indeed. Can I ask everyone to come off camera, bar Diane? Thank you. Good evening, Diane. I'm going to start off with yourself. I hope that's all right, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. Diane, can you tell me a little bit about your son Callum and his experience doing a Foundation Apprenticeship, please?
Thank you, Claire. And firstly, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to join the webinar this evening and share with you some information about my son's experience during his Foundation Apprenticeship. Callum completed a Foundation Apprenticeship in Financial Services over 2 years in S5 and S6. He started his Foundation Apprenticeship in 2019 and completed in 2021. He spent his first year at City of Glasgow College 2 afternoons a week and his second year on work placement with AXA Insurance. Callum learned about the opportunities that a Foundation Apprenticeship offered him, both from myself and also from information on option choices through his school, Bearsden Academy. During S5 and S6, Callum completed 4 hires, as well as his Foundation Apprenticeship at STQF Level 6 and also a Professional Development Award at STQF Level 7. This provided Callum with a rounded curriculum of subjects and different forms of learning and assessment, including work-based learning.
Diane, what drew Callum to the Foundation Apprenticeship?
Callum has always had a strong work ethic and desire to earn his own money. Throughout secondary school, he worked with a local milk delivery company and got up in the early hours of the morning a few days a week for local deliveries. He was always reliable and enjoyed the extra money and independence it gave him from an early age. And getting into S5, Callum was interested in a career in financial services and felt that the Foundation Apprenticeship would help him to learn more about what a job in that sector would actually be like, whilst also gaining a qualification that would give him a head start over others to secure a job in that sector. He also really liked the idea of going to college 2 days a week and then working with an employer. Callum is very sociable and liked the idea of meeting new people, learning in different environments, and particularly the thought of working as part of a team. A few of his friends at Bearsden Academy were also choosing a Foundation Apprenticeship, and they were all really keen to go to the exciting new City of Glasgow College campus together a few days a week. At that time, Callum thought he wanted to go on to do a modern or graduate apprenticeship after school and immediately earn a wage, and felt his Foundation Apprenticeship would really help him with that. But he still wasn't 100% sure, and he was still thinking about college or university. So the fact that he knew that the Foundation Apprenticeship would still keep those options open to him at that early age was also really important to him, as it was to me as a parent.
Excellent, thanks Diane. Can you tell me, how did Callum find his experience?
During his first year, Callum always looked forward to the days in the week that he was going into town to go to college. He loved going into the city centre and he loved the buzz of the new college campus. And for his second year, he went through the interview and secured his work placement with AXA, which was the employer he really wanted to work with. There were a number of potential employers, and AXA was the one he was really keen to secure his placement with. And during his second year and his time with AXA, he always received very positive feedback and encouragement and support from his workplace mentor, which was really great for his confidence and motivation during that second year. And I have to be honest and say that unfortunately, as a parent, my feedback at school parent savings was not always quite as positive. And I felt I was often having to nag him to complete schoolwork and study for his other subjects. And I believe the style of learning in his apprenticeship really suited Callum, which made him more engaged as he could see immediately that what he was learning was relevant for a future job. And also during his work and projects, during his work placement, he could really see the difference that this could make to the work of the company, and he saw the direct relevance. And also working as part of a team and the style of contextualised learning was also ideal for Callum's personality and how he likes to engage. He's always had a lot of energy and often found it hard when sitting in the classroom or studying on his own just to stay focused. Mm-hmm. And I asked Callum at the time, and again earlier this week, in thinking about this webinar this evening, what he liked most about his foundation apprenticeship. He said he loved meeting new people at college and from across the business in AXA. In particular, he really liked being treated like an adult and being made to feel like a colleague and not a pupil, and to feel part of a team, particularly during his second year with AXA. And Claire, as you know, this chimes with what we do at Skills Development Scotland. For the last 5 years, Skills Development Scotland has recruited foundation apprentices into our business. And the foundation apprentices that we have worked with over those years have always been a real asset to our teams. And through their energy, enthusiasm and contribution to their projects on work placement, we have seen the real impact and difference to the work they do to us as an employer. But back to Callum, he completed his foundation apprenticeship from 2019 through to 21, and that was during the pandemic. So in the final months of his first year and in his second year, this was impacted by restrictions and lockdowns. Okay. And his work placement with AXA was completed virtually. And he did miss the opportunity to physically get into the office and work with the team, which he had been looking forward to. But in actual fact, this experience really prepared him for the modern working environment that he is now in. He really thrived on his work placement and liked the opportunity in the online environment to work with and meet lots of different people in lots of different departments in the company as he delivered his projects throughout the year. And in his current job, he has flexible working with a blend of online and office-based. Just as many of us, I'm sure, on this call tonight will have that approach. He currently works a few days at home and a few days in the Barclays office in Glasgow. And his current manager and team are actually based in London. So as a result of the experience he gained on his foundation apprenticeship, he was able to adapt and thrive quickly when he moved into this working environment.
Wow, well, my next question is going to be a strange one, Diane, after given what you've said so far. But what would you say Callum gained personally, from his apprenticeship experience? Did you see Callum grow in your eyes?
During his foundation apprenticeship, I really saw Callum grow in confidence, and in particular saw a huge improvement in how he communicated and articulated himself. He personally felt that he developed many new skills, including leadership skills. Through working with a team, his ability to adapt to working with others, solving problems and finding solutions, and also important for him now in work, organisational skills and the ability to meet deadlines. I was really pleased that during his project with AXA, he nominated himself for the role as the project team leader. And he got great support from his mentor at AXA to develop his leadership skills as he delivered and led the project with the team. And as we know, and you mentioned earlier, Claire, these are all really important skills for any job, and these skills definitely prepared Callum for his apprenticeship job after he left school.
100%. It really sounds like the foundation apprenticeship is what Callum really needed at the right time. Can I ask now, Diane, where did Callum's foundation apprenticeship lead to? So after he was with AXA, what happened next?
So as I mentioned earlier, when Callum was going into S5, he thought at that stage he wanted to secure a job in financial services when he left school. And his experience with his foundation apprenticeship and actually working in that sector confirmed this in his mind. He decided when he completed his foundation apprenticeship that he was really keen to continue on the apprenticeship pathway. So he visited apprenticeships.scot, and I know we'll mention that tonight as an important resource for information and opportunities. And he applied for a number of different apprenticeship vacancies. He was delighted, as indeed I was, when he was successful in securing an apprenticeship job with Barclays, and he started in September 2021, just after leaving school. And he was really excited by the opportunity of working for a global company in financial services. And I've got to say, it was a rigorous recruitment process with online testing and competency-based interviews. And indeed, his last online interview was with a team of colleagues from Barclays in London, which was all pretty challenging for an 18-year-old. Yes. And at his final interview, now I'm not sure if any other parents on the call tonight have done this, but I was listening nervously at the door as he was going through his interview. And virtually everything he mentioned in response to his interview questions related to his foundation apprenticeship experience and the knowledge, skills, competences, and the practical experience he had gained through the work he had completed during his year with AXA. He's now in his third year of his Barclays apprenticeship, and each year he has been lucky as he's done a different rotation, working with different teams and parts of the business. And this has actually enabled him to meet lots of people, and indeed from different locations globally. And he's gained a really wide range of skills and experience. I personally think that Callum's foundation apprenticeship experience was key to him securing the job at Barclays, and I know he says the same. I mean, at every stage of the application and interview process, it was really interesting as they were looking for more than how many A's or B's he had achieved, and more about the values, behaviours, skills and experience that he had and how he would fit into the culture of Barclays as an organisation. Callum, like many other young people, I would say is clever, capable and competent. I'm his mum, so of course I would say that. But he has really thrived during his apprenticeships. I think the hands-on and experiential style of learning and assessment with no exams has just really suited his personal learning style and has been really good for Callum.
Fantastic story. Tell me, what is the bold Callum doing now? What is he up to?
Well, he's due to finish his Barclays apprenticeship in August, and he's hoping to stay with the company and secure a permanent job from September. He actually just had his latest annual review on Tuesday this week, had really positive feedback, and his line manager is really working with him to secure a permanent job when he gets to the end of his apprenticeship. But I should say at times over the last few years, he has felt a bit envious of some of his friends at times who went to college and university, when they have had time off over the summer and have managed to go travelling and more holidays, and when he's working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But then he reminds himself that he bought a new car last year. He still managed to go 5 trips abroad and paid for them all himself, thankfully, albeit some of them were short trips, and he pays his own petrol, phone, etc. And I've got to admit, as a parent, I quite like those aspects myself.
Absolutely, that's ideal. Diane, thanks so much for being so candid. Can you tell me, what have you learned as a parent with Callum doing his foundation apprenticeship?
I think one of the most important things I've learned as a parent in recent years is that finding subjects that your children are really interested in and that motivate them, and a learning style that helps them to thrive is really important. All children are different, they've all got different learning styles. For Callum, the Foundation Apprenticeship did that. Also from his experience, I've learned how important the role of the employer and workplace mentor are. They have been really key and can and did make such a difference. And Callum was really lucky. And I've got to take my hats off to AXA and his mentor AXA, who really believed in him, encouraged him and really motivated him to succeed. I've said a lot about Callum, but just wanted to mention a few words about Adam, my oldest son. I think if he heard this webinar and he wasn't mentioned once, he might be a bit disappointed.
Absolutely.
So Adam left school in 2017, and the Foundation Apprenticeship wasn't available as an option choice in S5 and S6 for him at that time. And when he left school, he wasn't sure what he wanted to do, and he spent around a year doing different part-time jobs, just trying to work that out. He then went on to secure a modern apprenticeship with Hewlett-Packard. And like Callum, once he was in that work-based learning environment, he thrived and went on to complete his modern apprenticeship and secure a permanent job. And he now works with a global software company. And I believe that had the Foundation Apprenticeship been available at school at that time, it would have also been a good option choice for Adam.
Fantastic. That's such, you must be so proud of both of your sons. You know, that's absolutely fantastic. My final question to you, Diane, is really especially since we've got so many parents and carers on the call tonight. As a parent, would you recommend a Foundation Apprenticeship? Taking your Director of National Training Programmes hat to the side at SDS, as a parent, would you recommend it?
Yes, and as you know, Claire, like in my job, I've always promoted and believed strongly in the benefits of apprenticeships for young people, employers, and indeed the Scottish economy. As a parent, however, I've experienced firsthand the difference they have made to my own sons' personal journeys. I would say, if anything I've said this evening about my sons' learning styles and their experiences has resonated with any of the parents on the call this evening, then I would strongly encourage you just to find out more and consider a Foundation Apprenticeship as a good option choice, along with other school subjects that can help your young person with whatever path they choose in the future. And I would just like to thank everybody for listening to me this evening.
Thank you so much, Diane. It's just been so wonderful to hear how successful apprenticeships have been, not just for Callum, but for Adam as well. And ultimately, why we are all here tonight. So I'm much appreciated. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
I'm now going to go and speak to my colleague, Eileen. So if Eileen put the camera on, I'm just going to make sure that I'm checking that that's done. Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks, yeah.
Excellent. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, Eileen. Eileen, as a head teacher with a specialism in business studies, can you share your views on the benefits that you've found of Foundation Apprenticeships and your experiences seeing the impact a Foundation Apprenticeship can have on a young person, please?
Yep, thanks, Claire. So I think the Foundation Apprenticeships are a great opportunity for young people. It will mirror what you've heard from Diane. The more young people that take part in Foundation Apprenticeships, the better. My own experience back in 2018, we built Foundation Apprenticeships into our curriculum. We saw it as a new exciting product in Scotland and Scottish education, and we worked specifically with 3 frameworks: scientific technologies, social services and healthcare, and business skills. These frameworks made sense in the school that I then worked in because we worked in partnership with a local college. We used labour market intelligence around current and future jobs, and also looked at the data around what our young people at that time were interested in and what the career routes were that they were aspiring to, which led us to work within these 3 frameworks. It grew year on year, and the pathways led into positive destinations after school for our learners, including modern apprenticeships, graduate apprenticeships, university, college, all pathways. Some examples include Gary, who undertook a scientific technology Foundation Apprenticeship, and amongst a package of other learning, and he progressed into a graduate apprenticeship in the aerospace industry.
Oh, wow.
And a current young person we have at the moment is undertaking a Foundation Apprenticeship in social sciences and plans to progress into an HNC. And she wouldn't have continued and stayed in 5th year without that opportunity, and now she's got that pathway into higher education at the end of this year and is totally thriving within that work-based learning environment and skill set of social sciences. So it's been positives all round in our experiences.
Oh, brilliant, Eileen. That's fantastic. And it again resonates with what Diane was saying about learning styles and, you know, no exams, etc., things like that. That really appeals to certain kids, children's learning styles, young people's learning styles. Can I ask, how did the Foundation Apprenticeship fit into their school life, and did it benefit any other subjects?
I think in most cases it complemented their overall pathway and added value to what their learning was. The work-based component helped confirm career choices or allowed for that hands-on relevant learning in a real-world environment. Different than going in work shadowing or work placement, it's about doing the actual job in that environment. Pupils tended to be nervous entering into that space, and then once they are thrived and developed skills such as communicating, collaborating, adapting, critical thinking, which allowed them to translate that back into their learning other subjects in school as well.
Fantastic. How would you say, from a teacher's perspective, the young people have benefited from the qualification?
I think they've benefited because there's an increased confidence and belief in themselves through experiencing that wider learning. Foundation Apprenticeship is an excellent qualification to have in your CV, and colleges, universities, partners and businesses are all very aware of it, more so than they used to be. The soft skills gained and the career management skills that they've got access to, particularly networks. So in terms of that connection to people in industry doing the jobs and the hands-on experience, like the mentor system there that Diane referred to, has opened up opportunities and avenues that they wouldn't have had otherwise, unless they had that within families. And it's also provided them with the necessary entry requirements into whatever that next aspirational step is within their journeys.
Fantastic. How would you say then it's helped them to get where they want to be? So, you know, in school, realising what they want to do after school, has it helped shape that for these young people?
I think the learning within the Foundation Apprenticeship has provided learners with more confidence in what they want to do next. It's widened opportunities and raised awareness of what they actually can do. So that on the ground learning and experience and the belief of what might be and what is really helped out. The Foundation Apprenticeship pathway, which we call the school apprenticeship in terms of the other ones you mentioned, modern and graduate, has allowed young people to access level 6 learning and real life experiences that has absolutely made them see a future that they maybe wouldn't have imagined before. It removes the fear attached to something that they maybe can't do or think they can't do because they realise they're doing it, and offers a safe test phase for it, whilst they still have the support that they have within the school environment and connecting with families as well. So I think it allows much better connection to life than classroom-based learning at the right stage within their secondary education.
Fantastic. I keep saying fantastic because it is. It's just amazing. Finally, Eileen, would you, as a head teacher and a former business studies teacher, I said former earlier, and Eileen didn't really like that because she feels that she's a business studies teacher for her whole life as well as being a head teacher. So, not a former business studies teacher, but as a teacher and a head teacher now, would you recommend the Foundation Apprenticeship to parents, and why would you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would recommend it to parents. I think it offers a unique experience which is planned out and adds value to people's learner journeys. It's not an opportunity that existed, again, like Diane said, for our older son. For us, when we were at school, I think it's a great advantage within the system. It remains new and unique in Scottish education. I'd like to see more young people gain that opportunity to take part in these Foundation Apprenticeships. My own daughters, who are only 8, I really encourage them, even at this age, that when the time comes, they'll absolutely be taking part in these within their secondary school journey. It might be the only level 6 a young person does. It could be in combination with advanced hires. The important part is that they're able to develop skills and connect to the real world. And I do think the unique selling point of Foundation Apprenticeships is that connection to real world experiential learning that helps them believe in and forge successful paths now and then throughout their futures.
Brilliant, Eileen. Thank you so much for your input. And again, for your support of the webinar tonight. I know how busy you all are, and it's just phenomenal to have you here tonight. Thank you, Eileen. I'm now going to hand over to my colleague Cheryl at the National Parent Forum of Scotland and ask Cheryl to come on camera, and hopefully that will be fine. There she is. Hello.
Apologies, yes, I doomed myself earlier when I said I was going to have Teams issues, and it spited me once again tonight. So my apologies for earlier.
Now.
I'm here.
Not at all. You're here now, and I'm delighted to see you. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, especially if you've had technical difficulties, Cheryl. There's nothing worse. I wonder if you can tell me a wee bit about the National Parent Forum of Scotland's role supporting young people to navigate their education and early career, Cheryl.
The National Parent Forum of Scotland, for those of you who don't know who we are, we're made up of parent volunteers. So first and foremost, we are parents based in our local communities. We all have children going through various ages and stages of education. For me, I have a child who's in a senior phase, personally who's in S5. National Parent Forum are really one of the partners of Skills Development Scotland. We've worked in partnership for many years. We actually have produced a series of nutshells around apprenticeship. We convert all the jargon that parents get in education and try and simplify it in a way that makes it easier for parents to understand. Because as you all know, as parents and carers, we rely on the information coming directly from schools. And it's not always in a simple language that we actually get to go, oh, right, okay, I understand what that means.
That's great. Thanks so much, Cheryl. I wonder if I can ask you about your experiences witnessing firsthand the benefit of Foundation Apprenticeships for young people. I think you've got a couple of examples you want to share.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I get to wear multiple hats tonight. So not only chair the National Parent Forum, I actually run a youth centre. And the youth centre that I run, I work with over 40 young people. And these people, these young kids, oh my God, they inspire me so much. I have several go through the apprenticeship journey. I'm going to speak about two in particular tonight. I've got one young person, her name is Lucy. Lucy has overcome so many barriers and challenges. She has additional support needs and is currently on year one of our Foundation Apprenticeship at one of my local schools. It's been a bit of a challenge, not just for Lucy, but also for supporting the family, because again, there's so much information that parents don't really get to know and understand what a foundation apprenticeship is and the benefit and the value that brings. The second young person I'm going to speak about is, his name is Kyle. He's actually been through the Foundation Apprenticeship in mechanical engineering, I can't quite say that word, and has now got a full-time modern apprenticeship with Network Rail. And his journey, he has dyslexia, so he's overcome his own set of barriers where academia wasn't always suited to some young people, where it's not always a National 4, National 5 higher, advanced higher route. For these young people in particular, the actual barrier is getting to school. So the option of being able to do a foundation apprenticeship has been life-changing. So for me as parents, it's just trying to make sure that we get as much information and actually look at the journey that these young people that you've heard about earlier have been spoken about.
So how has it helped them, Kyle and Lucy, to get where they want to be, or help them figure out their plans? You know, boosted their confidence. What is it it's done that you would care to mention?
So if I speak about Lucy in particular, so I'll first of all speak about Lucy. Lucy, honestly, the confidence from there's times where even going out to school, even leaving the house can be a barrier to on occasion to get even to and from school, to and from the apprenticeship. For example, going to college, you're taking young people out of a situation at this moment in time where it's not in their comfort zone. And if you look at the anxiety that some young people are now having, we've all experienced it ourselves. You know, it's not, you put yourself in a situation where you don't know anybody and it's all new. But the difference that being on this apprenticeship, being in a work-based environment, she's doing childcare, get into a nursery. She was able to sit and verbalise how much she took and she gained from being in that room with young children. That has honestly opened up a different light to her. She's able to take direction from that and verbalise and speak to us about her experiences, what she wants to do, how that she's actually asked us to liaise to get additional days. So therefore, when you look at the confidence this young person who went from not being able to go to school full time, who's now a part of her doing her FA, she's succeeding, she's planning to do in childcare, she's actually working with a group of young people, she's involved within our group. And you think about the work-based learning, academic, and I go back to earlier, parents always focus on academia because they feel that's a cultural way to go. But for us, the wider opportunities that apprenticeships give you and actually life-changing for opportunities for young people to succeed.
Wow. Do you know why Lucy and Kyle chose that route? Was it clearly obvious to them to go and do that foundation apprenticeship? Can you tell me more a wee bit more about that, Cheryl?
No, it wasn't as clear because again, apprenticeships, as much as I'm aware as the chair of the National Parent Forum Scotland, how much they've been about, and we were obviously supported SDS a way back at the start to work on My World of Work, the website. We worked in partnership with apprenticeship.scot and obviously yourselves at Skills Development Scotland. But as a parent and carer, does that translate back down to us boots on ground? The reality is that it doesn't always. So for some, as parents, we get option choices. And we all look at them and go, right, okay, I've got to tick that box, we've got to tick that box. What is it the young person wants to do? What's their career aspirations? And for many young people, they don't have a clue. So it's a matter of what they perceive or parents perceive their child to be able to do. The benefit of an apprenticeship, even for Kyle, was it gave him the opportunity to learn in a completely different environment in a work-based setting. If you look at his direction in mechanical engineering, did he ever think that he would work in Network Rail? The answer is no, because had his parents listened to the direction that the school was donating them on, it certainly wasn't going to be in a place that he is now being able to buy his own car. He's now fully independent. He's absolutely thriving. He is now actually showcasing apprenticeship for Network Rail is actually highlighting it, signposting to others. So when you look at the succession and the skills and the resilience and confidence that's been inbuilt to these young people through that foundation network, and you look at that FA as the actual starting point, it's actually amazing to see. He is now a young leader and is now running other sessions for young people, promoting the work of apprenticeships within the group that we've got. So for me, empowering parents and carers to know what's out there and not just always be focused on the academic, the higher and like the advanced higher to take kids forward. It's amazing.
That's just phenomenal. Thank you, Cheryl. Finally, would you, Cheryl, National Parent Forum Chair of Scotland, would you recommend the Foundation Apprenticeship to parents who are on the call tonight?
Absolutely. For me as a parent, I'll be honest, I will be hands up. Claire will probably tell you this, but as a parent, I didn't realise, I have a son who has autism. As a parent, I didn't realise opportunities like that were available to my own son and to my own kids. And I think being, as a parent, first and foremost, being able to get the opportunities like this for young people and the success stories, because do you know what? We can sit at a parent council meeting, we can go and speak to other parents, but it's the school gates. You need to listen to hear what the actual benefits are, and it doesn't always come back down to us because there's such a focus on academic. The work-based learning builds skills into young people that you can't get from a book. It also allows the opportunity of being a workplace environment where they're treated like an adult, first and foremost. It's giving them an idea of a taster session at an FA level of where this career is going to be then before they set in a path where they might struggle later on. It's the independent skills, the independent thinking, and as a parent, I guess, absolutely advocate for it.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. That was really informative, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you also to Diane and Eileen for sharing your experiences with us this evening. I hope you out there listening in the audience have really benefited from that knowledge and experience from a parent, a teacher and the National Parent Forum of Scotland. Really been given some real insights about Scottish apprenticeships and how they work in reality. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So I'm now going to ask my colleague Meriel to go through some frequently asked questions. Usually we will get questions in on a regular basis, either through our websites, through our direct email addresses, through our helpline. And what we do is we gather them together and under frequently asked questions, and we publish them. What will happen after this webinar is over, you will receive a pack early next week, which will include the recording, and it will include all the signposts and everything you've heard tonight. But you'll also get, if you've been putting questions into the sidebar, you'll also get responses to those questions. A team of us will get together and make sure we answer them and get them back to you as soon as possible. Are you around, Meriel?
Hi there. Hi, Claire.
Hi there. Are we able to take some questions?
Yeah, so if we can just jump to the next slide.
I think I may have removed those.
Oh, that's no worries.
That's all right though. Yep.
So our first frequently asked question is, how can my child or young person get a foundation apprenticeship?
Okay, well, foundation apprenticeships, as we've heard tonight, are available to S5 and S6 pupils in schools across Scotland. Pupils going into S5 or S6 can choose a foundation apprenticeship as part of their school option choices, as they are counted as a school subject and fit into the senior phase timetable. Young people can also visit apprenticeships.scot, our flagship website, to find out what subjects are available at their school and apply online. Parents can also submit an expression of interest on behalf of their child or young person, and that goes direct to the learning provider and also to us at Skills Development Scotland. We will share more information about apprenticeships.scot shortly, and we'll certainly be signposting you to apprenticeship.scot and all of our resources in the follow-up pack following the call. Do you have another question, Meriel?
Yeah, so this is a really important question. So what support is available for pupils with additional support needs?
Fantastic question. Thanks, Meriel. Well, apprenticeships, firstly, are open to everyone. And I must be really clear here and say there is absolutely no specific apprenticeship solely for those with additional support needs. On being accepted into an apprenticeship, a learning provider and an employer will work together to support the needs of their apprentices, whatever they may be throughout the apprenticeship. Skills Development Scotland works with providers and other specialist organisations to ensure that support for individuals with additional support needs is put in place. Support is offered on an individual basis. Providers, like colleges, undertake a needs assessment conversation with learners who disclose any requirements for additional support. The provider will then put a plan in place that is tailored to the needs of the individual. Providers work in partnership with employers to ensure employers understand any additional needs, adjustments, or anything that's required by that apprentice. Some examples of what apprenticeship providers offer individuals include considering how instructions are given, allowing additional time for activities if required, thinking about maybe workplace accessibility and offering quiet places to ensure individuals can get space to focus on work. Providers attend equality, diversity and inclusion training, and this enables them to have the knowledge and understanding of how to support apprentices with additional support needs. Incidentally, we recently held an apprenticeship webinar for parents and carers in September last year, and it was about parents and carers and additional support needs individuals. I will ensure that that link to that recording is added to the follow-up pack following this call, and I hope that that'll be helpful for that person that posed that question. I think we are just about out of time for questions, Muriel, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to take any more. I hope that's all right. I hope everybody listening tonight found that section useful. However, if there is something that we didn't cover, please use the chat box on the right hand side and we will include this in the handout that will be sent after the session. Now, let's find out more. Let me remind you of the places you can go to find out a bit more about Foundation Apprenticeships, what's available at your child or young person's school and how to apply. You can visit www.apprenticeships.scot/foundation, where you'll be able to search by school and senior phase year to see what subjects are available in your child or young person's school. Use the online tool to find out what a foundation apprenticeship is equivalent to in terms of modern or graduate apprenticeship applications or college and university applications. Submit an online expression of interest. This is sent to a local learning provider, as I said earlier, who will get in touch with your school. Speak to your school careers advisor, your guidance teacher or pastoral care teacher for any extra support that you require. But please don't worry if you've not been able to take any of these details down. As I have said several times on the call tonight, we will send them out along with a short survey about the webinar tonight, which we'd be really grateful if you wouldn't mind completing. So we are coming to the end of the webinar. I would just like to say thank you so much for listening. We hope you found the session helpful. On behalf of myself, the National Parent Forum of Scotland, all of our panel members and the rest of the team at SDS, thank you so much for joining us this evening and have a great night. Take care.